Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode, 348. Yes. Andrew here. I've said some unkind things about the corridor crew, and I am going to continue that trend tonight. So, in the last week, the corridor crew published a video on YouTube, and it's still called this. I was certain that they would change the title like they usually do when they get called out for their not really truisms. This video is called "We Invented a Magic Trick You've Never Seen Before." Never seen before in all caps, and there's an exclamation point at the end. Oh, have you now? Have you indeed, Corridor Crew, invented a magic trick that we've never seen before? Well, my curiosity's piqued. So I watched the video. And, not to spoil anything, but let me describe this brand new magic trick that Corridor Crew invented. This trick that you've never seen before. Alright? Okay. Imagine a stage. Like one a magician might perform on. On this stage are 3 hiding places. Now they could be tables with a tablecloth, or they could be boxes that you could hide in, or they could be wardrobes that you could go inside. 3 separate hiding places, and they're all in their own area on stage, completely divorced from one another. Okay? Do you have that in your mind? Okay, have I set the scene? I hope so. Now imagine the magician goes inside, or hides behind, or in, or under one of these hidey spots. Okay? Now, don't look away. Don't even blink! Let your eyeballs dry out, because you don't want to miss this magic trick which Corridor Crew invented and you have never seen before. So, the magician is hiding in one spot, and the assistant pulls off the tablecloth, or opens the cabinet, or knocks over the screen, and by golly gum, the magician is not there. Where the heck could the magician be? We saw them hide in that specific one of the 3 hidey spots. Oh my gosh! It turns out the magician is actually in one of the other 2 hidey spots. Holy biscuits! I have never seen a magic trick like that before. Gall darn. Gall darn and heck, Corridor Crew. That is a hell of a magic trick that you've invented. Why, we all have ne'er seen the likes of such a trick where a magician hides in one spot and then ends up in a completely different spot. From a certain point of view, it's not a magic trick. It's a visual effect. From a certain point of view. This is a bit of a quibble I wouldn't normally make, but I'm just so annoyed by these cats. And it's like, it's a magic trick. It's actually an editing trick. It's a visual effect. They're essentially Back in the 80s, when I was a small little ragamuffin, I had a VHS camcorder. Correction, I had access to a VHS camcorder that I borrowed from someone who had a VHS camcorder. This is a big damn thing. Nowadays we just have our phone, but this was a big damn thing that you put VHS tapes in and recorded onto. Big shoulder-mounted things. When I was in the single-digit ages, I filmed magic tricks. And some of the things I would do was I would film myself hide under a box. There, I'd like put two big trash cans or cardboard boxes in the backyard, and I'd put the camera on a tripod, and I'd turn on the camera, and I'd walk into scene, and I'd hide in a box. Then I'd get out of the box, walk to the camera, and or what did I do? Then I got out of the box, walked to the other box hidden there, and then popped out like I was surprising someone. And then, because I didn't have tape splicing or editing back then, what I had to do is use a second VCR to record the first part of that performance, and then stop it, and then fast forward through the bit where I got out of the box and moved over, and then started recording again through the last bit. But since the camera was sitting on a tripod, and nothing else in the scene changed except, maybe the grass blew or the lighting slightly changed, there's a fairly seamless cut. That is a magic trick. It's just using a different tool. It's using visual effects. It's using editing. I also did other tricks where I would make things disappear. Like what we could do it if I had a bunch of people. I could like say, I'm going to make my sister disappear. Huzzah! And then I would hold really still. Whoever was operating the camera would turn it off. My sister would walk out of frame, turn it back on, and I'd go, huzzah! It's another way to do it. I think the way the Corridor crew presented their little magic trick was neat. It was fun. It had a lot of pizzazz. It was a neat. It was neat. It was fun. It had a lot of personality to it. But gosh darn it and heck, guys, stop lying about this. Well, stop overselling. We invented a magic trick that no one has ever seen before. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's one of the most common magic tricks there are. I did the same damn trick in the 80s with a VHS camcorder, guys. Come on. Again, it's a fun video. But golly, we invented a magic trick you've never seen before. Don't you feel like an asshole saying things like that? I mean, come on. I guess it shouldn't bother me, but oh my god, it bothers me so much. Cafe Fox said, I had a VHS camera in high school, and I used the same tricks to edit film then, too. Yeah, you either turn off the camera and you change things, everyone holds still, and then you change stuff and you turn the camera back on, or you cut stuff out, and the way I had to do it was I had to use a second VCR to record back and forth to get the edit to work right. Janky as hell, but, it worked. It just... I mean, you know what? If they would have just... They could have titled it, We Invented a Brand New Way to Present a Classic Magic Trick. Fine. Although, that's pushing it. So the big gimmick here is, note how I said when I did the magic trick 30-some years ago, I left the camera sitting on a tripod. Much harder thing to pull off if you're moving the camera, but a lot easier Because you have to do the exact same move. Well, we've had motion control systems since, well, the 70s, but, I haven't. So, consumer-grade camera motion control rigs, not really a thing. So, what Corridor Crew did was they got a drone with a camera on it that has a program that can repeat its flight path. So they basically did a motion control shot with a drone. Okay, cool, neat. It's a kind of a new way to shoot a classic trick. It's more like a different way to classically shoot a classic trick, I guess. But it bugs me more than it should. I acknowledge that, but boy does that. But we invented a magic trick. You didn't invent shit. That's so arrogant. We're creative, and yes, you are creative, and you do some really cool stuff, but man, stop taking credit for other people's work. You didn't invent that trick. You didn't even invent how it was shot. You just used a different tool to shoot it the exact same way other people have already been shooting it for decades. Their staging and presentation is cute, though. Give it that. I mean, that would be kind of like... I mean... Oh, well, it's a brand new trick because, no one's ever done, 4 or 5 sequences in a row. That's like, no, man, that would be like if I did the cup and balls trick. You have 3 cups and you have a little ball and you put it under one cup and you move everything around and you lift one and it's not there and you lift the other and it's not there and you lift the... Oh my god, they're all gone. That kind of a thing. But if I did it with 3 cups and like half of a Lincoln log. My god, no one's ever done it with half a Lincoln log before. Brand new magic trick that nobody's ever seen. No, come on, man. Have some respect. Not just for your audience. Have some respect for yourself. Lame. Oh well. I'm sure Corridor Crew is watching and has seen the light and will stop doing that. Just stop. Stop doing that. Stop it. Bad Corridor Crew. Stop it. I'm glad we had this talk. I'm glad I set you straight. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, making the Andrew Eisen makes the world a better place one podcast at a time. Okay, so I was on Facebook the other day, and I saw it. Yeah. I saw it. The dumbest Facebook post in the world. Or at least possibly the dumbest Facebook post I've seen in quite some time. And I'd like to tell you all about it, because it was so dumb. I was fascinated. And I started, obsessing over it. I spent, an hour on it. I created an Excel spreadsheet. I was just so flabbergasted by the idiocy of this Facebook post, which was a minute and a half for some video. And maybe it's from TikTok or something, because here's how it's framed. The framing is real weird. It's actually 2 videos. It's a split screen. There's a top half and the bottom half. And the top half is what I'm assuming is just someone's video. And in the bottom half is some dude who's watching the video and not commenting, but reacting in a way that clearly communicates that they are just bowled over. Their mind is blown by the genius, the immense awesomeness of the video that they're watching, because they're watching like, doing that the entire time. And it's so sad. It made me sad. Because it's a stupid video. I'm proud of myself for not responding to the video because I knew, if I started typing, I would not be able to stop until I clearly pointed out everything wrong with this video. And the things wrong with this video are legion. Seriously, it would have taken me 1,500 words at least to just cover everything wrong with this video. But I didn't. I resisted the urge, and I just removed that post from my timeline, which I really should have got some screenshots. Because now I'm probably going to misrepresent parts of it. I do have my original notes, so that should help. So, this... So, this video, the basic framing is, allow me to communicate to you the splendiferousness of the cosmos, particularly our solar system. It's pretty rad, yo. And let me talk to you just briefly about something to do with orbital mechanics and a pattern that can be observed that's pretty gosh darn special. So, if you look at the planets in our system, they all take a certain amount of time to make one orbit around the sun. If you compare the amount of time each planet takes to orbit the sun to the time the planet next to them takes to orbit the sun, you get a ratio. So, for example, I'm just picking up numbers here. In the time it takes Mercury to make one orbit around the sun, it may take Venus half. So let's say Mercury goes around the sun twice in the amount of time that Venus makes one orbit. A 2-to-1 ratio. Nifty. So if you compare that ratio from each planet moving throughout our system, what you'll notice is those ratios are the Fibonacci sequence. Which you see in the elm, beech, apricot, pear, and almond trees? I don't know, it wasn't labeled. So what they're going for is, hey, look, if you look at the orbits of all the planets, the ratios of one planet to each successive planet, those numbers are the Fibonacci sequence, and so the universe is clearly designed by someone who's got a hard-on for the Fibonacci sequence, is the point of the video. Okay? Except I'm leaving out some crucial bits here. I just wanted to relay what the video is going for. They're like, planets orbit the sun. They take a certain amount of time. If you compare the ratios of the amount of time that they do next to each other, that's the Fibonacci sequence. Nifty. Okay? Here's the thing, though. in their little graphic, they're like, here are the planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter? I think Jupiter comes first. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, which is a dwarf planet, but whatever. It still orbits the sun. It still counts. Never understood why anyone got up in arms about that. I mean, it's not like... I mean, it's a rock. Who cares? Is it because it has the name of a cartoon dog? Is that the only reason anyone gives a shit? It's still there, folks. Pluto's still there. It's just reclassified. Because if Pluto's a planet, so are about 500 other things. Do you want to learn the names of 500 planets? No. So it's a dwarf planet. Pluto's still there. It's still called Pluto. Never understood why anyone cared. Anyway. So. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and the rest. All right. The guy presenting this has a little graphic, and he lists out the planets, and then he lists out the and I actually had to watch this a couple times to figure out what the hell he was talking about, because I wasn't sure if he was talking about the time that it took a planet to flip around the sun, or if he was talking about, like, the distance it travels, because his chart isn't labeled. There aren't any units. Like, it says, Pluto, 90,000. 90,000 what? Miles? Kilometers? Astral units? Days? I don't know. What it was... Earth says 365, so I assume it's days around the sun. Of course, as we all know, the Earth actually takes 365.25 something days to get around the sun. That's why we have an extra day every 4 years. So, but they rounded down. Okay, fine. I mean, it seems kind of less impressive if you have to round everything to a closer number, but whatever. So they have their planets. They have their observed days, number of days it takes to flip around the sun. But then they add another column, which he labeled theoretical, which are just different numbers. So Earth, the observed, is 365. The theoretical is 366. They rounded up for some reason. Jupiter got rounded from 4,332 to 4,133. Pluto's observed was 90,000, which I checked. No, it isn't. I actually checked all the I checked 3 of the observed numbers, and they're close, but they're not exact. But they're not even using the observed numbers because they just made up their own. Uranus, 30,688. Theoretical, 3,100. Okay. Saturn, 10,670. Theoretical, 10,333. So what they've done is they've said, hey, isn't it neat that if you change all these numbers in a way to get a certain sequence, you get this certain sequence? No, that's... No, it's not impressive that if you deliberately change the numbers in order to get a specific sequence, you get the specific sequence that you changed the numbers for. What are you doing? Oh, but it gets worse. Because what planet goes between Mars and Jupiter? I'm sure some of you have some mnemonic device that's like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, right? Is there anything between it? Well, there's an asteroid belt. And it turns out, even with their fudged numbers, Mars's orbit and Jupiter's orbit are so far apart that the ratio doesn't come anywhere close to any Fibonacci numbers. So they had to jam the fucking asteroid belt in between Mars and Jupiter to get the shit to work. And he just puts it in there like it's no big deal. Oh my god, guys, this is so amazing! Did you know if you take all the planets and fudge the numbers, you get a neat sequence? I mean, at least if you jam some fucking asteroids in there. Oh, but it gets worse. Because you know how I said that the ratio of each of the successive planet orbit times are the Fibonacci sequence? They're not! They're not the sequence. You might also be wondering, what does it mean to be the Fibonacci sequence? I mean, Fibonacci sequence is like 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13... right? So what does that mean? So is it, do we have a 0 to 1 ratio? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, start with 1. So we have a 1 to 1 ratio. So what? Mercury and Venus have the same exact flight time, so to speak. So the ratios are 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 to 5, or something like that. Is that what it is? No. No. No, the ratios are 1334, 821, 821, 12, 513, 38, 25, 13, 12, and 32. Now, all of those individual numbers are numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, but it's completely fucking random. It's like, oh my god, guys, you're making up your own goddamn numbers anyway. Why don't you just make up numbers that make a sequence that actually means something? Shoehorn astronomy. I love that's good, Fox. I like that. What? No, it's not impressive. Oh, but it gets worse. Because on their chart, for some inexplicable reason, they have a question mark next to the 3 to 2 ratio of Pluto and Neptune. I don't know why they have a question mark there. Are they just not sure? Because Pluto, for some reason, unlike every other thing, doesn't have a theoretical value. I guess they were happy with 90,000. They just didn't need to make up another number. Except that the theoretical that they made up for Neptune is 62,000. And that's not an even 3 to 2 ratio. That's off by a little bit. So their observed number for Neptune was 6193. Why didn't they round it down to 60,000 so it would actually be a 3 to 2 ratio? Ah! Oh, also, you might be remember I said the asteroid belt? It's like, well, how do they all move at exactly the same speed? I have no idea. But they have a range of 1,200 to 2,000. So what are they using for their theoretical value? 1,500. Why? I don't know. It's not even the median. That would be 1,600. It's just 50. I don't know. Also, Mars, for some reason, has 2 theoretical values. The observed value is 687, and their theoretical values are 596 and 720. And both of them have question marks next to it. Of all the values that they listed here, one of them actually is the correct ratio. One, Neptune and Uranus, 62,000 to 31,000. Yes, that's a 1 to 2 ratio. Good job, you got one. You made up the numbers yourself, and you only got one right. And this dipshit in the bottom screen is like, what do you do? There are so many things wrong with this damn thing that I don't see how anyone is... they go on about how they say, "Hey, isn't this neat that we see the Fibonacci sequence in these ratios of planetary flight paths?" And we see the Fibonacci sequence all over nature, in the elm, the beech, the apricot, the pear, the almond, the elm, the pine. He says, saying that the elm, the beech, the apricot, the pear, the almond, and pine all have the same ratios. So, like Uranus to Saturn has a 1 to 2, which it doesn't. Or I'm sorry, no. Neptune to Uranus has a 1 to 2. So does the elm. Oh my god, it does? Wait, the elm has a 1 to 2 ratio? Are we're talking about an elm tree, right? Ratio of what? What are you comparing? What do you mean the elm has a 1 to 2 ratio? What? 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 No idea. But, so, I mean, at the highest level, hey, look, the Fibonacci sequence is all over nature. Isn't it so mind-blowingly super cool that a sequence of numbers that a pattern we find all over nature, we also find elsewhere in nature? No! No, that's... No. Nope. No. No. You see this pattern in all these places. Yes, you see the pattern in all the places you see the pattern. It's everywhere except for all the places it's not. You know? We got bunches of shit that spiral. You know, you're talking about the golden spiral. And he goes on to talk about the golden spiral. He's like, oh, there's so many things that match the golden spiral. And, you know, this seashell and waves crashing on the shore. And I'm like, nope. just no. I mean, some of this shit approximates it. Sure. I mean, it's a logarithmic spiral. That happens in nature. Sure. Sometimes not. I mean, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And when it happens, it's an approximation. It's not exact. Nature's not very good at exact. So, yeah. No units. They didn't label their chart. They had to make up values for all of the planets because the observed values, almost all of which they got wrong to varying degrees. I mean, 365 is not incorrect, but 365 for the number of days it takes the Earth to circuit the Sun is not incorrect. It's just not terribly precise. But I looked at a couple others, and they're just wrong. Off by quite a bit. And they still changed them. And they had to jam some asteroids in there. And they had to give Mars 2 completely different values. And they had question marks in their own chart. And their displayed ratios, which all contain a number that's somewhere in the Fibonacci sequence, aren't in any kind of order. I mean, wouldn't it be neat if the ratios were like 1 1, 1 2, 2 3, 3 5 5? You know, it built like that. That would be super neat. But no. So because Mars had 2 values, I calculated them out using using the observed value that they listed, which is still wrong, and the 2 theoretical values that They just made up because the ratio of Jupiter and Mars using their observed values, which are not correct, is reduces to a ratio of 299 to 1,444. Are either of those Fibonacci numbers? No. No, they're not. Okay, but let's use their theoretical values. Okay. What happens if you use 596? Well, you get a ratio of 596 to 4133. Are either of those Fibonacci values? No, they're not. Okay, well, what about their made-up number of 720? Again, you get 720 to 4133. Are either of those Fibonacci values? No, they're not. You know, and that's why I spent like an hour the other night just staring at this thing, actually looking up what the accepted values for, you know, various planets' orbits. I looked up I think 3 of them. Interesting. The funny thing is, I just went to like the Wikipedia pages. I wasn't like deep diving into this, but Pluto's orbit is measured in Earth years, not Earth days. And it's like, well, poopsicle sticks. What conversion should I use for an Earth year? Should I use their 365? Should I use the more precise 365.25? Should I use the ultra precise 365.25, whatever the rest of the decimal points are? Because I have no idea off the top of my head. I tried a couple of them, and I never got exactly 90,000. It's somewhere around there. It's like within 1,000, but this is so sad. And it's just the image of that guy sitting under this ludicrously stupid presentation that, even if everything they said were actually true, still does not indicate their conclusion. I mean, their whole thesis is, we observe in the heavens a numerical pattern that we observe throughout nature. That means someone designed the heavens. No, it doesn't. That's not... No. I mean, you're wrong about everything, but even if you weren't wrong about literally every single thing here, that's your data is not indicative of your conclusion at all. I'm not even going to argue your stupid conclusion. But your data doesn't indicate it is the thing. You would think that everyone watching this and just accepting everything at face value would be, oh, well, no, that's not what that means. No. I mean, all you've said is that a pattern we find in nature, we find in nature. I still droid. Hello. Says, just came across your stream. Keep up the good work, homie. Can I get wrench privileges? I don't know what that means. But welcome. I'm still the piece de resistance is the dude sitting under the thing just being gobsmacked and blown away by what he's saying. Maybe I read him wrong. Maybe he was like, oh my god, this is so stupid, everything's wrong. I hope so. I don't think so, but I didn't comment on the post. It didn't stopping me from ranting about it here tonight. No, I had to get this off my chest. That occupied an hour of my evening. I tell you what. Hey, if you take the amount of time each planet takes to orbit the sun, and then you change all the numbers to get a desired result, you get the desired result. Ah! If you jam some asteroids in there and give Mars two different values, hope no one checks our math because it's wrong. What's... Now, to be fair, most of the time, I calculated the error percentages. You know, how far off the actual value is from the asserted ratio. So if they're saying it's a ratio of 1 to 3, I calculated the percent error. Mostly, the percent error was lower for for using the numbers that they made up. So usually, using the numbers that they made up, they at least got closer to the ratio. But not in all cases. No. In one case, the using the actual values, or the actual values according to them, which again they're wrong about. There was an error. One of them was supposed to be, let's see, this was an 8 to 21 ratio, which again it's not even close. 61% error, 61.8% error. Using the theoretical values, though, it's a 98.66% error. They made it worse. They changed the numbers and they made it worse. The actual in one case was 2.29%, and they changed it to 17.86%. In the other direction, it's actually one is positive 2.3%, and the other one, and using their fudged numbers, it's negative 17. So it's actually like a 19% difference because it swung the entire opposite direction. Oh my god! Maybe it's a troll. Maybe they're like, let's make the dumbest, most wrong thing we can possibly make and see if anyone falls for it. Oh god! Oh no! What have we done? What horror have we wrought? Oh my golly gosh and heck! I still have no idea what the heck, It's a 1 to 2 ratio, just like an elm. What? No, the 1 to 2 ratio between the orbits of Pluto and Neptune, just like the elm. Because as everyone knows, the elm, well known for having a 1 to 2 ratio of, I don't know. Pine is a... Did you know that pine is an 8 to 21 ratio? But it's also apparently a 13 to 34 ratio. Please tell me it's a troll. Please tell me they're doing it on purpose. I can't take it. No one is that stupid. No one is that incompetent. No one can possibly genuinely get literally everything wrong It has to be on purpose, man. It has to. My fragile little psyche can't take it. Maybe it was a different pine tree. Again, I don't know if these are trees. I'm guessing a pine tree, but maybe it was a different tree. Chaos says this must be Andrew's if it weren't for my horse moment. Yeah. This YouTube, this thing here, that's really bad positioning because you're cutting off part of the part of the chat. I hope, I don't know if I believe it, but I damn well hope that it's, yeah, I mean, maybe it's just insidious. Maybe it's just taking advantage of credulous, incurious people who aren't much into considering anything. And that's kind of evil. But somehow I find that easier to stomach. You know, people knowingly taking advantage of others for personal gain, than someone just being that damn stupid. I just imagine, if you will, we're back in high school. We're all going to high school together. Now, we're all in the same class, and we have a test. It's a multiple choice test, 100 questions on the test. All multiple choice. So there's 4 possible answers, A, B, C, D. Andrew, y'all say, because we're all buddies. How'd you do on your test? And I show you my 100 question multiple choice test, and I show you the big fat 0 at the top. I got literally every single question wrong. Every single one. I managed to answer 100 multiple choice questions. All multiple choice questions only have 4 options. Got every single one wrong. Now, they aren't mutually exclusive, says Chaos. Yeah, that's true. Now, what would you think? Would you think, wow, man, you should study. You got everything wrong on a multiple choice test. That's kind of incredible. I would think you had to have done that on purpose. It's, I mean, possible, but it's so unbelievably unlikely that anyone could take that test in good faith and manage to get every single element of it incorrect. Again, it's technically possible, but when I see that, I don't believe it. I think you're being dishonest. Oh, we're going into real places now. Because, yeah, I'm thinking about something specific from like a year or 2 ago. Yeah, I had a months-long conversation from a important figure in my life about something very important. And what stunned me is, like my test example, they were wrong, demonstrably, provably wrong, about every single thing they said. Everything. Literally everything. And being that important figure in my life, I didn't want to believe that they were being dishonest, but that's the way. I just can't accept that they're approaching our conversation in good faith and just happen to get literally. You think you would just stumble ass first into the right answer eventually, just on accident, right? It's so unfathomable that anyone in good faith could accidentally get every single element of a particular topic incorrect. Again, particularly since the answers are multiple choice, right? What was fascinating and aggravating about this particular conversation is this person would write, like, I don't know, 3 paragraphs of stuff, and I would take a week responding point by point, because it was important to me that this person knew what was true. So I would spend the week breaking down every element of what they said, saying, okay, this is incorrect, this is what is correct, here's how we know that's correct, and here are at least 3 independent sources you can go to verify that you're wrong about this and this is the correct thing. Spent hours on that shit. Press send, and then they wrote back. Did they respond to anything I said? Nope. Didn't even acknowledge I had said anything, just moved on to a bunch of new talking points. And like a gosh darn fool, I responded to the new talking points, thinking that surely this person I know, have known for decades, and love and respect, surely if they're shown that they're wrong about literally fucking every goddamn thing they say, that's gotta wake them up, right? That's gotta give them pause. Like, get them to reconsider their position. Right? Nope. Apparently not. Or maybe I'm just very bad at this. It could just be I suck at this. This went on for months. They'd come up, they'd say a bunch of easily, demonstrably untrue, dumb shit. I'd correct them, show them how and why they're wrong through multiple independent sources. They'd ignore all of it and just send more stuff. And this went on for several months. Until they apparently just ran out of talking points and circled right back around to the first ones that I'd already corrected them on. I take that back. I had said that they had not responded or acknowledged anything I'd said. That's not quite true. They did. They did respond to one thing I said, and it was a fucking analogy. And they still got it wrong. Vexing, that. So the sad culmination in this, of this story, we're moving into Andrew's therapy hour now. Sorry about that. This person made a gesture as if, okay, cards on the table. Here are my big 2 issues. My 2 big issues. These are the sticking points here. That, like, I think and behave the way I do because A and B. Chaos says, when in doubt, people are stupid. Now, both of these 2 little factoids, A and B, I didn't know the answer to immediately, but I mean, I was like, yeah, those are probably both wrong. I don't know. One was this person who is in a position to know said this, which would mean this. And the other one was, if this, then there should be a law doing this. And there isn't, so not this. A and B, those are my two big problems. Now, I had no idea about either of them, really. So I wrote back, and I said, your claim is that you think and act the way you do because of A and B. A and B. Those are your two big issues. If you learned that you were 100% completely wrong about both, would you change your mind? And they said, no, probably not. I do this because A and B. But if I found out I was 100% completely wrong about both A and B, I still probably wouldn't change my mind or alter my behavior. Points for honesty, I suppose. So 5 or 6 months later, I realized I had just completely wasted my time. A worthy endeavor, I still say, but I don't know if there was anything I could have done. Sure, maybe I could have done things better, but I don't think there was anything I actually could have done to achieve the desired result. When faced with someone who genuinely doesn't care what's true, that's just it's a mindset that is so alien to me. I don't know what to do in the face of someone who genuinely doesn't care what's true. Just doesn't care. Not interested. I'm going to do the... For what it's worth, I looked up A and B, and they were indeed 100% completely wrong about both. The person in the position who was in a position to know a thing, they got the quote wrong. They left out a very important part of the quote, which changes the entire meaning. It's like the sentence, I did punt the kitten like a soccer ball. Well, if the actual quote was, I did not punt the kitten like a soccer ball, well, that changes the meaning quite a bit, doesn't it? Right? It's the same thing there. They left out either they chopped it out and thought I wouldn't notice, or they're getting their information from people who are deliberately lying to them. Or that's happening somewhere along a chain. I don't know. But, yeah, they were wrong about A, and B was, well, there should be a law that does this. And it's like, yeah, there is. Here's the law. Here's the actual text of the law. You can actually look this shit up. 100% completely wrong about both. And those are my two big problems. No, they're not problems. Can I change your mind? No, 'cause I don't care what's true. So, I'm led to believe that not only was the last that 5 or 6 month period a waste of my time, but this person was just lying to me the entire time. Like, I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe anyone can literally get literally every single goddamn thing wrong about a particular topic on accident. Gotta be lying. And when it culminates in a, well, I just don't care what's true, that's I've decided what I want to do, and I'm going to just adopt any data point that supports the decision I've already made. It doesn't matter to me or not whether the data point is true, only if it supports the decision I've made. Yeah, that's kind of shit. Needless to say, I don't talk to this person anymore. Sad. Last time I heard from them was the following summer. Said, hey, I'm going to, going on vacation, and I'm going to patron this establishment. And I wrote back and I said, that's a hate group. Here are 10 other attractions that you could visit in that general area where you wouldn't be directly funding a hate group. You know, if you know, I don't imagine you knew. You just saw a fun attraction and thought, hey, let's go visit that. But yeah, it's run by a hate group, so maybe go somewhere else. And they said, well, I can't be expected to know who runs it, blah, 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 which is a point I spelled out in the original email. Didn't expect you to know that. That's why I told you. Just in case you care. And responded something like, well, I looked into it, but I see no evidence of them supporting hate groups. Yeah, I said, I don't know if they support hate groups or not. I said they are a hate group. I might chalk that up to an oopsie daisy, except they did that twice. After I'd clarified twice that the organization in question, while they may support hate groups, no idea, don't really care because they are a hate group. But whether they're a hate group or not doesn't matter to this person. They don't care. They want to go to the attraction. They don't care who runs it. They don't care how their money will be used, even if it hurts others. Possibly more insidiously, this person I am, whose identity I'm of course dancing around, may not care because they know that they're not a member of the groups that this hate group targets. Now, I don't know if this person genuinely just, I want to go here. I genuinely don't care if they're a hate group or not, or if it's the insidious, yeah, they target these communities, but I'm not members of those communities, so don't know. I don't know. Maybe a bad judge of character. I mean, I guess we all read people wrong here and there. But I've had to boot 5 or 6 people out of my life in the last several years. Had to. Decided to. Wanted to. I don't want to be around these people. I feel like explicit virulent bigotry is a pretty low bar, right? That seems like a low bar, right? Kind of like a bare minimum expectation in a formal relationship, anywhere from, acquaintances all the way up to lovers, right? That seems like a fairly reasonable standard, I think. I mean, I've given this thought. I don't feel I'm being too picky on that point. Fox says, can I reveal what the attraction was that they were a hate group? Yeah, it's Jesus Christ, the Ark Encounter in Tennessee or Kentucky, something that's run by a group called Answers in Genesis, which is a bigoted, disinformation spewing hate group. They cause a lot of damage, a lot of harm. And, it would be one thing if this person looked into it and said, I don't believe you. Okay. But it wasn't it was never a matter of this person just thinking I'm full of shit. They just don't care. And this one's probably the worst example of the people I've removed from my life. But I'll admit, it's not a great feeling when you have people who've been an important fixture in your life for decades. People you've esteemed, loved, respected, turn out to be just bad people. Most recent one was 2 months ago, and this was a friend I've had since college, so a little over 20 years. I think I touched on it a bit, obliquely referenced it in one of the gem videos. We were meeting, we live in different states, so we took a weekend to meet in kind of a halfway point. And we were chatting about stuff. They were telling me about, their kids are going back to school. This was over the summer, so they were talking about kids going back to school and stuff. And then, so we're just having catching up. And suddenly just launched into a repugnant, just horrific transphobic screed that just came out of damn nowhere. I'm like, the hell? I've known you for over 20 years. What in the biscuits? One of the darkly funny things about encounters such as these is the way the other person reacts to you being uncomfortable with their bigotry. Because this person was like, I can't believe you're gonna let politics come between, our friendship. I'm like, that's. I mean, it's not wrong, but I mean that's just not exactly how I'd refer to just being a transphobic bigot and broadly queerphobic bigot. But okay. And we had plans to spend the, because we had both driven a couple hundred miles to spend the day together. And they were so aghast that I would not this person said, well, let's have lunch. I said, my first thought was every single thing they said about trans people was just laughably wrong. And stuff that I've heard before. Like, they were referencing, like, there was this video where this person was doing this thing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know exactly what video you're talking about. And number one, it's from 8 years ago, and it's from, like, Denmark, and there's no trans people in it. So, I mean, it doesn't even support your whole thing. So I thought, I've known this person for 2 decades. I've known them to admit when they're wrong. So I thought, they live in Arizona. They are surrounded by some bad information. They're married to an asshole. So I'm confident that I can work with this person to show them that they've got bad information. Well, they wanted to have lunch at Chick-fil-A. I told them I would prefer not to eat there. They said, why? I said, well, because the person who owns the franchise is a bigot who uses some of the a portion of the proceeds to support hate groups, and I don't want my money, even partially, even indirectly, being used in that way. So I'd prefer to have lunch somewhere else. Maybe I misunderstood, but they seemed to be so aghast that I was... How did they phrase it? Something like, I can't believe you're valuing people that you don't even know above me. A dear friend from college. And I said, no, I'm not valuing people I don't know more than someone I do know and love and respect and esteem and, is an important part of my life. I'm unwilling to hurt other people for you. And I corrected them on that point at least twice. And this was another instance where I asked them, do you just not believe me? Do you think I'm wrong about how Chick-fil-A uses some of its proceeds? And I've not looked into this in a decade. Maybe they've turned over a new leaf since. I don't know. But I did look into it a decade ago when this first came to life, because this shit's public record. You can actually look this up and go, oh, yeah. And also, the dude, what is his name? I don't remember. Admitted it. There's interviews with the guys. Like, yeah, we do this on purpose. So, yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, cross that place off from my chicken sandwiches. But yeah, this person seemed to be so genuinely offended that I wouldn't be willing to, I don't know, abandon my morals and ethics to buy them a chicken sandwich. I don't know, that sounds so weird to me, but that seems to be where they were coming from. And they left. Got in their car and drove back home. I've had other people who I've booted out of my life for similar reasons call me a dick. Oh, you're intolerant. You just can't stand someone with a different opinion. No, I just can't stand people with that opinion. I don't brook bigotry. So buttons. Brooklyn Pruim. Hello. So, well, I hate to end on sour notes. We were having such fun. Let's see. I'm looking around for something to inspire me. I don't know. Extra Life charity event's coming up. Looking forward to that. Oh, Riku Palandina, who a name several of the people in chat might recognize, donated haven't received the care package yet, but donated a crap ton of spicy foods for me to try during the Extra Life charity event. So no worries, Brooklyn. My last name doesn't work in English either. Eisen, E-I-S-E-N. I mean, it works great in German because it's German, but in American English, it's a hard name to sound out. So no worries. But hello to you too. Yeah, so 2 weeks, November 4th, Saturday, starts at noon. Video games till noon the next day. Kelly will be here, Super Metal Dave will be here. We're going to be playing all kinds of video games. Brian curated some Super Mario Maker 2 levels to play. A batch of pleasant and a batch of painful, and got a little gimmick where how you donate allows you to vote for pleasant or painful levels. Doing a spicy food challenge thing that I mentioned. I am lightweight when it comes to spice, so this ought to be fun for you. And Riku donated a nice, a goodly care package of spicy goodness. I think there's a spicy drink in there. There's spicy popcorn. I think there's a spicy bag of crickets in there. There's like what was another one? There's like a bag of spicy chips with a crayfish on it. Crayfish flavored chip. I don't know. I'm morbidly curious and deathly afraid. So yeah, looking forward to the charity event. The main game we'll be playing will be the grand reveal. Will be a video that I'm publishing on Tuesday. I did a reaction video to the full Lordy 2006 Eurovision Hard Rock Hallelujah performance. That'll post on Halloween. Got some gem reviews coming up. Got my Extra Life promo videos. Tomorrow we're gonna be playing some more Trails to Azure. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. Sorry for bringing the mood down, but you know, sometimes the podcast transitions to Andrew's therapy hour. That's a danger when you don't have a co-host. That can happen. So on that lighter note, talking about fun things that are upcoming, we'll call it here. Join me, come back tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, and we'll play some more Trails, and we will have a good time doing it. So, until then, everyone, take care, and bye-bye.